Next up, we have Maria Giudice. She leads the experience design company Hot Studio here in San Francisco. Maria is an expert in creating new ways for people and companies to interact, and she's done just that for professional designers. She's going to tell us about the role designers can and should play in successful organizations. Maria?
Everyone, how are you doing today? You guys all inspired or just like, oh my God, I'm just getting hit with all of this incredible content today. I feel even more, I'm more inspired than ever, feeling like designers have arrived. Do you feel that? Yes? Well, I'm here today to talk to you about a design revolution that you can all see is already going on. I'm referring to the rise of the DEO. DEOs, or creative business leaders, are distinctly different from traditional business leaders. They're uniquely qualified to solve the world's problems. Today, we're going to explore the qualities that set creative leaders apart. I'm going to introduce you to some role models and rule breakers who you've already met throughout this conference today. And we're going to discuss the principles that you can apply in your everyday life so you can live the life of a DEO too. Are you ready? Yeah. All right. So this is me, 5 years old, still have the fabulous hair. And you can see, I grew up in Staten Island, New York. And you can see from the rotating silver Christmas tree in the back that Santa brought me an Artomatic spin art set. How many of you had one of those growing up? Let me see. The people who are raising their hand are all old. Where's Rick? Is Rick here? Did you have one, Rick? Where are you? He's hiding. I loved that kit so much. For as long as I could remember, I wanted to be a famous artist. It was never a question in my mind. It was my destiny. At a young age, I was a budding entrepreneur. When I was about 15, I made a decent living as a dog portrait painter. I got $25 a painting plus the cost of the frame. Later on, when I was in high school, I would paint jean jackets for $100 a piece, at the same time babysitting, essentially doubling my income. I didn't know it at the time, but I was a very smart businesswoman. For the past 15 years, I've been CEO of Hot Studio, a large strategy, design, and technology company based here in San Francisco and New York City. But a more accurate title for me is Designer CEO, or DEO, the creative leader who holds the highest office in the organization and who puts creativity, design, and innovation at the center of the company. The DEO, remember to do this. The DEO is not necessarily a trained designer. They come from all disciplines and industries. They're business leaders and social innovators. They're government leaders and artists. And they're all passionate people who've greatly impacted the world through action and results. And I bet there are quite a few DEOs in the audience today. You just don't realize it yet. A DEO, or Design Executive Officer, is a combination strategic business leader and a creative problem-solving designer. The DEO looks at all business problems as design problems, solvable through the right mix of imagination and metrics, as evidenced by many of the speakers that you heard today. And as our world is at a crossroads, these new leaders are cutting through old paradigms and creating new solutions for very challenging times. Acumen Fund's Jacqueline Novogratz is a DEO who's redefining the way poverty can be solved around the world. Creative leaders like her possess special superpowers over traditional business leaders that are both unique in nature and powerful in practice. Creative leaders are catalysts for transformation and agents of cultural change. They disrupt the status quo by thinking outside the box versus fear of ever leaving the box. They're systems thinkers who have the ability to solve complex problems versus solving problems linearly, one at a time. And they have deep empathy for people by focusing on creating relevant and meaningful experiences versus just selling the product or service or closing the deal. They embrace risk rather than running or mitigating or just avoiding risk altogether. And they're driven by curiosity, imagination, and intuition. Passion fuels the work. They're committed to excellence and craft. And they have this. Does anybody know what this means? Take a guess. Anybody? They know how to get shit done. They have the urgency and focus to get things done, get it done right, and get it done better than anybody else. Deepak Chopra once said, "All great changes are preceded by chaos. The world is much more complex and requires new ways to solve problems. The solutions we need are coming from creative business leaders, the DEOs. In order to solve the world's problems, we need to think like designers, feel like designers, and work like designers." We all got to see Emily last night. Emily Pillaton is a DEO who knows that design can change the world. She's a high school teacher, an industrial designer, a writer, a builder, and a world changer. But like Emily, the very first thing we need to do is change our mindset from design being thought of as an expense on a balance sheet to an investment in the future. Design is not a noun. Design is an active verb. And it's really about all these things, and we've heard these terms throughout the last 2 days. Co-create, facilitate, translate, observe, communicate, innovate, negotiate. Design is about radical change, from producers of artifacts to champions of a connected society. Cameron Sinclair is an eternal optimist and co-founder of Architecture for Humanity. Together, he and his partner, Kate Storr, have changed the lives of hundreds of thousands of people around the world, designing and building structures to restore communities in need. We heard this repeatedly through the day. As DEO, you need to have empathy and care deeply for all people. One of the speakers said, love, 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 love. That's exactly right. They're cultures, and they have to have the desire to do good on behalf of people and the planet. Designers often make the mistake of solving problems on behalf of their client, rather than losing sight of who we're truly serving, the needs of real people. By living in people's shoes, your employees, your customers, and your community, you can look for innovation in the white spaces that don't exist in conference room walls with two-way mirrors. Bill Clinton knows how to get shit done. By bringing together a diverse group of committed participants, the Clinton Global Initiative is currently improving the lives of nearly 400 million people in over 180 countries. He understands the incredible power of we. We're no longer in the culture of me, the lone rock star in the corner, and recognizing people solely for their individual contributions. Instead, we live in the we. So businesses need to create a culture of collaboration, cooperation, and teamwork. We've heard it a lot today. The best ideas and solutions to global problems come from a multidisciplinary team effort where everyone feels they've contributed to the design process. More brains, more ideas, better solutions. Recent research on the most successful companies points to one common denominator: having the right culture. And it can start with you right at your desk. Provide an environment that encourages and rewards creativities in others. Break down the formal structures that divide people. Tear down those cubicle walls. Creativity and innovation needs to be baked into the top down, from the top down and the bottom up. Everyone is born creative. It just gets beaten out of us at a young age. And in order to get the best ideas out of teams, make it fun to come to work every day. Ray Anderson is a very successful was a very successful CEO of a carpet company. In 1994, he had that spear in the chest epiphany that he was a plunderer of the earth. He changed his mindset, disrupted the status quo, took a big risk, and created a sustainable solution. He founded Interface Carpets and Mission Zero, the company's promise to eliminate any negative impact by the year 2020. In order to build an innovative culture, you have to keep the company in a constant state of reinvention. It takes personal courage and vulnerability to toss out wild ideas. Be empowered to be wrong. Embrace failure as a way of learning, and be empowered to change your mind. Early failures lead to course correction, new directions, and new inventions. So in order to solve the world's problems, we need to think like designers, feel like designers, and work like designers. Open your eyes wide, be courageous, and touch people's hearts and minds. Help us work together as a team, a party of equals, to solve the world's most complex problems. Help us build a better future for our children. We can do this as designers, as creative leaders, as DEOs. Finally, lead by example and be your authentic you. Don't be afraid to show who you really are. Have the courage to think differently. Have the confidence to be different. If this girl from Staten Island with the funny accent and the wild hairdo can do it, you can too. Bring out your inner DEO and help me build the next generation of creative leaders. And to quote the great DEO Lady Gaga, you are all born superstars. Go and find your own stage. Thanks very much.